So this video is going to be all about me, essentially. This is an introduction video, so I'm just going to be talking about myself, what I like, what I don't like, maybe what I don't like. I don't know if I'll talk about that yet, but what I like, definitely, and some of the items I use on a day-to-day basis, so stay tuned for that. So I do have a list of questions that I'm going to be reading off of, just for convenience sake, really. So I'm going to read some basic questions first, and then I'm going to get into the more spirituality-related questions after. First question is, what is my name? My name is Taylor Nicole. What are my hobbies is the next question. My hobbies include gardening, sewing. I really like playing video games. Some of my favorites are Horizon Zero Dawn, Skyrim, and Fallout 3. Fallout 4 was not better than Fallout 3. That's an argument that I'm willing to have. Another hobby of mine is drawing. I really like to draw on my spare time. I've actually drawn out all of the tattoos that I've gotten. I like to get my ideas onto paper before I give it to somebody else. So all of my tattoos are done by the same artist. His name is Sean. He's a local guy. I do have one other tattoo that was done by my friend Brittany. She's a great stick and poke artist, also local. So the next question is, what is my sun, moon, and rising sign in astrology, obviously? My sun is Gemini, my moon is Libra, and my rising sign is Leo. I feel like that's pretty accurate. Next question is, what is your tarot reading style? I'd say I'm a mix of traditional and intuitive reading. I feel like I stick mostly to what the cards by definition mean, but also when I do readings, I read each card individually and then I'll read them all as a whole, like how they relate to each other, so I can get kind of a better understanding on what the cards are trying to tell me. I would say it's mostly traditional with a bit of intuition. I'll be doing the craft tag by Julie and Ashley. I'll link all of the information and the questions down below. I won't be answering all of them just because I don't really have answers for all of them, but I will answer most of them. I have them all written down. What kind of witch am I? My mom likes to call me a white witch. I really hate the terminology that people use to label witches. There's no need for it. I don't feel like you need to have a kitchen witch or a green witch or a water witch. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like you can be whoever you want to be at any given time. I don't really fit into one label specifically, so I just don't relate with any of them. I feel like I'm kind of a little bit of all of them. What path or tradition do you follow? I mostly follow paganism. Most of my spirituality comes from the teachings of Master Choa. Been doing pranic healing for a while now, and that's been really exciting. So I've taken 4 of his classes so far. I'll be taking another one in October, which I'm very excited about. So earth-based paganism, pranic healing, and druidry have all been major inspirations for my craft. Are you devotional or secular? I would consider myself secular. That's all. The next question is, are you solitary or are you in a coven? I am solitary and I continue to stay solitary. I don't feel like a coven is right for me right now. I don't feel like commitment is the best thing for me right now. So the next question is, what do you do when you feel out of touch with your practice? And honestly, I just take a break. If I know I'm struggling, if I know that I'm having a really tough time keeping up with what I want to do, that's when I realize, like, wow, I need to just relax, take it easy, and literally just turn off. It's okay to take a break. I feel like a lot of people in the community are very adamant about always doing it every single day as much as possible. And I don't think that's necessary to grow in your practice. You're allowed to take breaks and you can feel good about just taking time for self-care and self-love and just basic human needs. And that's totally fine. It's totally fine to just do your own thing and not have to worry about, oh, I have this coming up. Oh, I have this to celebrate. Oh, this holiday's coming up. I have to go practice for this. So you don't have to feel like you always have to maintain that sense of spirituality, because it's always there. It's not going to go away. It's always with you, so you don't have to worry about it going anywhere. So the next question is, have you ever doubted your faith? And I think everyone doubts their faith from time and time again. I mean, it's perfectly normal to doubt. I feel like it's okay to doubt things to a certain extent, as long as it's not taking over your actual beliefs, then I think it's fine. That's also a sign of Burnout is when you're doubting your faith and you're doubting what you truly believe in because of outside influences. So as long as you know what you believe in, you don't have to listen to it. The next question is, what grounding techniques help you out the most? I would definitely say meditation is the number one thing that helps me. I meditate almost every day. I try to do it daily if I can. Obviously, it's life, so I can't always do it. Like, it's not gonna happen every single day of my life, but my goal is to keep it once a day. I'll do meditation. Also, breathing techniques just during the day, like reminding myself to breathe while I'm at work or while I'm outside of the house or while I'm doing stuff in the house. It really helps kind of bring me back to center and focus on what I'm actually trying to do. What are some pet peeves about the community? Do I have anything to add about how I feel about the community? Probably. I feel like there's a lot more negativity than people like to lead on in the community. I feel like there's a lot of judging that happens in the community. I'm really not a fan of judgment. I feel like if you have the need to judge somebody on what they're doing, if they're not harming anybody, then you have a problem. I don't see the need for judgment, for hatred, for negativity anywhere. I just feel like there's so much of it in the world already that we don't need to contribute to it. Especially, I feel like if you're not Wiccan in the community, you get a lot of backlash for very random reasons. I feel like even if you're a Christian witch or if you're an earth-based religion witch, I feel like it doesn't matter, you're gonna get some flack. But am I gonna talk about people because they're disagreeing with what I do? No. That's just on my experience from my friend's experience with the online community especially. I have little to no information about local communities. It really bothers me how much judgment is in the community right now, and I'm hoping that people have this coming to light moment and realize that positivity needs to take the forefront. If we're not putting out good intentions, we shouldn't be concerned about them. Like, negative intentions are only meant for very serious cases. So that brings me to my next question to ask, which was, do you believe in black magic? What is your take on black magic? Now, I don't have an opinion on either side. I feel like you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do. Do I necessarily take part in black magic? No. I'm not going to say there's not any negative connotations towards the dark magic, and even like spiritual work is very like criticized, like working with the paranormal side of things is very, but I don't think that it's inherently wrong to do. I don't feel like it's inherently non-pagan to do. If it was a very detrimental situation, I wouldn't be opposed to using it. That's all I'm going to say about it. The next question is, do you do divination? Absolutely, I do divination. Probably 20% of what I do right now. So doing tarot cards, doing pendulum work, doing spirit work, doing dream work even can be considered divination, and all of those things I'm really, really into. The next question is moon phases, planetary correspondences, and days of the week. Do you think they're important, or do you think they're not even remotely related? I focus on the moon phases mostly. I definitely work closely with how the moon rotates. I do a lot of new moon and full moon rituals especially. So those are my two favorite moon phases, I think. I don't really work with days of the week as often, but I do keep them in mind while I'm doing my practices. The next question is, do you have a spell language? Do you have a certain way of writing things down? And the answer is no. I feel like poetry sometimes, I feel like doing nothing sometimes, so I'm kind of all over the place, but it just kind of, whatever feels right in the moment is what I actually go ahead and do. The next question is, do you keep a book of shadows? The answer is yes, I do. I have several journals full of information and documentation and just really incredible stuff. I have categories for everything that I practice, and I'm constantly updating them. I'm constantly adding to them. I think that my most favorite aspect of keeping a book of shadows is looking back at it and seeing how much you've grown. It's like really prevalent that I am journaling almost every day. Next question is, do you have an altar? The answer is yes. This is my altar behind me. It's beautiful. I love it so much. It's literally just a bookshelf. but it's my altar. I've turned it into something magical. I've turned it into something that I go to every single day. So this is my safe space. I'm in my safe space with my plants right now. The other question that went along with do you have an altar was, is it devoted to anything specific? And I would say no. However, I do feel like I add the 5 elements into my altar at all times. I feel like there is just a general feeling of protection, for comfort, and basically for necessity. I just have all of the things that I use on a daily basis over here, so it's convenient. I change up my altar almost every season. I would say I change it every Sabbath if you follow the Sabbaths. I do follow all of them. This is my Samhain one right now. My Mabon one is up there. You can't see it. I'm not gonna bother showing you what it looks like. The next question is, do you believe in the afterlife? The answer is yes. I also believe in the spirit realm and reincarnation, so I kind of have an interesting viewpoint on the afterlife. So I feel like when we die, we go to the afterlife, which is the spirit realm, essentially. And we can choose to stay there in spirit, or we can choose to move on to our next life, whatever that may be. And that's as simple as it gets. I explained that really well, actually. The next question is, do tools have to be natural? Do they have to be bought? And my answer is kind of, I just find the tools that find me. I feel like everything that I use as a tool, I found for that purpose. So I go thrifting a lot, and I find almost all of my items, well, no, I would say about 40% of my items are from the thrift shop. It's really cool candle holders and knick-knacky things to put on my altar. They mean a lot to me. I call them knickknacks wholeheartedly, and I absolutely love all of them. So you don't need them. I feel like everybody thinks that you need tools. I love using tools, so I use them a lot, but I feel like you can just use your hands, your body, your mind. It doesn't really need to be physical, but I'm a visual learner, and I like to learn and do and experience through visuals and through holding objects. Obviously, I have a lot of objects, but they all mean something important to me. Do you have any books to recommend is the next question, and I say yeah. The book that I think opened my mind the most was Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. It's an amazing book. She is an amazing writer, amazing author. She does really great things for the spiritual community. She Spoke Truth is a spiritual teacher. She does classes. She has an online presence. She's very well versed in the mind, the body, and the soul. I really connect with her work, and I definitely recommend checking out that book if you haven't. It changed my life. So the next part talks about favorites. I feel like I don't have a favorite anything. I really am indecisive when it comes to picking my favorite items, so I usually pick like 1 to 3 items that are my favorites at any given time. And I feel like it changes with the seasons. It kind of depends on my mood too, if I'm into something or if I'm not into something. I'm going to be discussing my favorite things, but these are not necessarily going to be my favorite things in a month. So these are my favorite things at the moment. My favorite tarot cards, I feel like these are the ones that speak the most to me. I get these most read in my tarot readings. I feel like I pull these cards the most out of all of them, which is kind of surprising. I feel like these 4 cards together represent something just completely amazing. I'm going to share with you the cards that I have, and just that's it. I'm just going to show you the card. I'm not going to explain what the cards are, but I will show you them. So this is the Empress card. It's one of my favorites, and I freaking love it. So this is the Empress. The Two of Wands is also one of my favorite cards. I feel like the twins, I feel like this is my card. The Strength card, I feel like, has been such a big help in my life. I feel like I embody strength. I embody this card full force. Like, this is the card of Wands. The Knave of Wands is such a beautiful card. I love the illustration on the front. I'm going to say this about all 4 of them. So these are my 4 cards that are my favorites. Once again, this is the Empress, Strength, Knave of Wands. This is the Two of Wands. So these 4 cards represent me. They represent who I am. I feel like I embody these cards really well. If you have some cards. I'd love to hear about what you think of them, but these are my favorite cards and this is my favorite deck. So the next favorites question was, what's your favorite crystal? I don't have a favorite crystal, but I do have some that I really, really love at the moment, so I'm just gonna show you those. This is green aventurine. It's one of my favorite crystals. I use this in the garden especially. It's on my altar right now. I don't keep all of my crystals on my altar, but I do keep this one on the very top. Another favorite of mine is black onyx. This is just such a great stone, especially for divination work and new moon rituals. These free forms are probably my favorite shape right now. I love how small they are and they just kind of stand up on their own, so it's just really convenient because they look great when they're just... My next favorite is rose quartz. I have a lot. I think I have this stone the most in my collection. This or clear quartz, I think, is the two that I use the most. But this one in particular, I really, really like it. It's obviously not looking great on the camera, but I really, really like this stone. My current favorite herbs at the moment are basil, parsley, and sage. I use them all the time. I'm always taking cuttings from my plants here. I'm letting my basil flower because I want to get some seeds from it, so I'm just kind of letting them grow right now. I do have marigold and oregano in the background, but it's just an ever-growing collection of herbs and flowers. Right now I'm not growing fruits or veggies, but I am growing a lot of herbs. I'm growing a lot of flowers, so I'm pretty excited about what autumn has to bring because I just planted a whole bunch of new seeds and I'm very excited about them. It feels like spring, but it's also getting colder outside. You just kind of go year-round in an indoor garden, so it just kind of works out that I'm doing my thing and it's kind of like a new spring. Maybe I'll keep doing this. I don't know. Maybe I won't. But this has been really fun. I hope you got to know me a bit better. If you have any questions also, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, see you next time. Oh wait, oh my god, I totally forgot. I totally forgot to talk about my tattoos. Okay. So a few people requested me to talk about my tattoos, and I feel like there's not really much to say about them. I just got them because I wanted to, mostly. The only thing that I really had deep significance with was the quote on my collarbone here. So the quote says, "Create a life worth living." Might have to insert some photos of my legs because I feel like lifting them up to the camera is not going to do it justice, so I'm just gonna talk through the top ones and then I'll talk through the bottom ones and then I'll show some pictures of the bottom ones after. I'm just gonna briefly discuss my tattoos. This is my chest piece. Create a life worth living has been my motto for years. I have stuck with this for so long and I feel like it helped me change my perspective on life, so just being able to create a life that you want to live personally is what that essentially means. The pansy over here is for my grandma. It's her favorite flower, and the purple is actually her favorite type of pansy. I remember seeing them in the garden when I was younger and I absolutely loved them. One of my first Halloween costumes was a pansy, so that was really special to me. So yeah, I got a little purple pansy, and I also got the 6 roses here. So the next piece I got was my half sleeve. This was done at separate times, so I got the no face and the Mononoke mask first. So this is my tattoo. Goes all the way around my arm. I'm just really in love with the color scheme right now. I feel like it flows really well from my old tattoo into a newer one. A lot of people recognize no face and they comment about it. So I don't really have a specific meaning behind my half sleeve, but it just was kind of my ode to Ghibli movies. I feel like Spirited Away has been such a big part of my life for so long. I've probably seen the movie, no joke, 400 times. It's been with me for a very long time and it's got me through some really tough stuff. So that movie is my comfort movie. I watch it every time I'm feeling upset. And no face is always with me. This piece I got was done by my friend Brittany. She's an awesome stick and poke artist, and she designed this tattoo that I got done. It's a stick and poke of a little sage plant inside of a bottle, which totally represents me and my faith and my spirituality, so I am absolutely in love with this really tiny tattoo. My newest piece is on my left leg. It's basically a portrait of Haku, the dragon from Spirited Away. I feel so connected to this tattoo in particular. It's very, very special to me. It wraps around my entire leg, and I'm still planning out the background for it, so I don't have everything completed. I can't decide what to put in the background yet, so I haven't gotten it done. I'm still thinking about ideas. I know Haku is a river spirit, so I feel like I want to incorporate that somehow. I could honestly put anything in the background and be happy with it, but I'm just gonna leave it blank for now. Of my leg tattoos because they're impossible to get a good angle on from this camera, so here are a few pictures of my leg tattoos. So this was the get to know me tag, the craft tag, basically all the introduction tags tagged into one video. It was kind of all over the place. I don't really have a specific way of going about these question videos. So that's all the questions that I had to answer. So I feel like hopefully now you know a little bit more about me and what I'm into and what I'm about. So stick around and I'll have some more videos for you coming up soon.